Welcome back to the Tennessee Frugal Craftsman. I just wanted to show you what I've been working on and bring you up to speed on where I am today. This is Thursday, November the 4th. So I want to just show you where we are. So I'm going to swing this around and give you an overview. I have now completed all of my 5 oak logs and actually one of the maple logs as well, and I'll show you the pile here in a minute. Here I've actually cut out a live edge mantle for one of my friends, one of my colleagues. You can see it here. It's off of one of my maple trees, and I'm just going to zero in here. You can see it's got really nice grain. You can see the grain up through it. Obviously it won't be quite this long. It'll be cut down to about 6.5–7 feet, but it's got a nice live edge on it there, and it'll go into a kiln. It's about 12 inches wide at the widest point, and it's about 4.5–5 inches thick down at the deepest point. I've been cutting up my offcuts. As soon as they come off, I cut them up and throw them on the fire so I don't have a lot of stuff building up. I did have my first major problem, well, quote-unquote major problem with my saw. I broke you can see the saw belt, the blade over there. This morning I broke the blade. Found out later, after I talked to Woodland Mills, the tech guys there, that we probably shouldn't run those any more than about 2.5 to 3 hours before they're taken off and resharpened. And I was pushing probably 5+ hours on it, and it had cut all of my logs, all of my oak logs. And I'll take you over here now and show you what I got out of these. So these are all sticked and piled. We've got, I haven't figured up the board feet, but there must be close to 500 board feet here. Probably between 400 and 500 board feet of oak. What I did is I cut up a bunch of thinner stuff down at the bottom. That's running about 7/8 of an inch. Then I started stepping them up a little thicker, about an inch or so. And then at the very top, it was just because of the way the boards are coming out, what I did is I actually did some 1 3/8 stuff, and as wide as I can get. And I think what I'll end up doing with those is probably putting them into spindles, and I'm thinking maybe treads, oak treads for the house. And so I figure with all of that oak in the probably 2 years by the time I need it, if we get that far, it'll be ready to go, be dry enough, and I can plane them out and get the oak used in the house. So what I'm doing right now, and just don't want to keep the video too long in this first part, I am cutting out 2x4s. In this case I've got, this is part of the maple. I'm making some hardwood 2x4s here. I plan on using those probably within just a few months, so I should be able to drive nails in them fairly easily, especially with an air gun. But I've got a lot of hardwood pieces down, and I want to save my pine as much as possible for the house. What I've got here is borax and water solution, and I'm coating, I treated all of my oak stuff over here, so that's all done, and it's been treated so the bugs hopefully will stay away from it. And then anything that I've got left over that's really not good enough to use for anything for finish work, I'm just cutting them into 7/8 boards. I'll run them through maybe the planer when I get it, plane them up to 13/16 or 3/4, and I'll use those on the roof of the building that I'm going to build, along with some of the other boards that I get. And so I'm well on my way. The saw is working great. Really no complaints overall with the way the saw is working. The only thing that maybe I would suggest is making sure that you get the tension on the belts and the blades proper. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I think I was over tensioning the blade, and I think that's why I'd worn it out faster than what it should have. And so I'll keep you up to speed on how the blades go from here on out. So until next time, I will pick this video up, and hopefully on Saturday, when it's going to be a little bit brighter, I will set up and run the video and show you actually a log in action and how the sawmill's working. Talk to you later. Welcome back to the Tennessee Frugal Craftsman. It is a Saturday morning. It is November the 6th. Just want to show you what we're doing today. I'm just going to swing around here and we'll try to bring you up to speed, and then we're going to cut a log. As you can see here, as I've noted, all the oak is gone. The big maples that were over here, they're all cut up. I'm now starting into this pile here. I have been burning all of my offcuts, so trying to keep everything cleaned up. Just try to give you an update on some of the things that you should keep in mind when you are sawing. I had a saw blade that broke on, I guess it was Thursday, and come to find out, Woodland Mills has a new tensioning method that they didn't send with this saw, and so they sent it to me in an email attachment. I had tensioned the blade too tight, and the saw blade was getting a little dull at the same time, and the saw blade broke in half. And so they're telling me now that you should just take and tension the saw blade about 2.5 turns once it starts tightening up, just with finger tight. That I'll come over here and show you a little closer. Try not to move around too much. I know that's hard to follow. But this little tensioner right here, you should just go in finger tight, and then 2.5 turns will give you about 20 to 25 pounds. If you go to 3, it's going to be a full 25. And so that keeps you from having to use the torque wrench, but it would have been good to know early on. This does use a fair amount of water. I usually go through about 2 gallons of water probably every 2 hours, maybe even an hour and a half. And so I don't have water on the site, at least not pumpable water at this point. And so the thing that I'm finding is that to fill this, it's going to take a lot of water. And so I keep bringing, these are 2 gallon jugs approximately, and so I'm bringing those every time. And I'm keeping ahead of it, so I have 3 of those that I carry all the time, and that takes me usually for a day. So it's 6 gallons. And I've cut in 6 or 7 hours. You do the math, so it's about 1 gallon or so an hour. And so what I want to do is I'm going to set up here, and I'm going to see if we can't do a short video of cutting up this log. It's a smaller log. I don't want to bore you to tears, and so I'm going to see what we can do here. Okay, I see my camera died as I was cutting the wood and I didn't realize it. I just wanted to show you what we ended up with. It was probably not the best log to be demonstrating on the camera because it was so uneven. But what I ended up with, and I'll just pull around here, is I got 4 2x4s here. They're going to be plain, so I know I'm not overly too careful with the widths. I just somewhere between 1 3/4 and 2, because I'm going to run them through a plane and shape and size them. And I also have that piece there that I'm going to try to maybe cut up. I'm not exactly sure, but for the most part on that small piece, 4 2x4s, it took me about, well, let me see, half hour or so, maybe 40 minutes. Normally I would get more out of the, if it was a little bit larger log, but 4 of those at about $4 a piece, you could do the math, $15, $16. And so, hey, it's money in my pocket if I can use those for 2x4s for building, as opposed to actually going to the hardware store and buying more. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. And so I know this video is a little long, and so until the next time, I will try to keep you up to speed as I continue to cut here, and maybe I can get this camera to work and we can do a longer video on something that's a little better for a log. Until next time, see you later from the Tennessee Frugal Craftsman.